New Calvinists talk about their words, not mine, and it's based on Romans 8:30. The golden chain of salvation. What's a chain? If you could pan over to the screen. Okay? Is that a chain? Or is this a chain? This is taken from a sermon by John Piper, where he speaks of the golden chain of salvation based on Romans 8:30. They say that sanctification is not mentioned in Romans 8:30 because justification and sanctification are the same thing, i.e., one chain from salvation to glorification. We say and contend that Paul doesn't mention sanctification or discipleship in Romans 8:30 because justification is totally separate from sanctification, and sanctification need not be in a description of the finished work of God the Father and Jesus Christ. I know that you can't read the excerpts and the quotations I have here, but John Piper in this sermon, this particular sermon, is talking about the dangers of participating in the links of this chain in the wrong way. And in fact, let me just, before I move on, read part of an excerpt. He says, there is a danger on the way to salvation to heaven. Or he says specifically, there is danger on the way to salvation in heaven. No, there isn't. If you're saved, there is no danger whatsoever on the way to heaven. Unless we can do something to mess it up. He said, we need something on the way to heaven. We need ongoing protection after our conversion. Oh, really? Wow. Our security does not mean we are home free. Really? Now, I don't want to get down a rabbit track, but it just amazes me that these guys can get away with saying things like this. But then I keep forgetting, the average American parishioner is so dumbed down theologically and biblically illiterate that of course he can get away with saying these things. Our security does not mean that we are home free. He says there's a battle to be fought. In what context? In what context? A battle to be fought where? Why would we want to fight a battle in a work that's already done? What's he talking about? And in this battle, we need protection and help far beyond what we can supply for ourselves. We don't need to supply anything for ourselves in regard to justification. Again, it's a finished work. He goes on, the means God uses to protect us. Listen, don't miss this. You awake? The means God uses to protect us is faith. We are now being protected by the power of God through faith. It's salvation by Christ plus our faith. Look, when justification and sanctification is fused together, and salvation is a golden chain, anything you do in sanctification goes back to your justification. It's, in their book, properly participating in the links. And if you don't properly participate in the links, the chain gets broken, and you're up the creek without a paddle eternally. New Calvinism, because it fuses justification and sanctification together, has a complicated formula for what is works in sanctification and what isn't in works in sanctification, which determines whether or not you make, quote, sanctification the ground of your justification. But what they've done is created a complicated formula that determines what is works in sanctification and what isn't works in sanctification that might affect our justification. But my brothers and sisters, when the two are fused together, everything that we do in sanctification is a work, whether it's merely meditation, prayer, or doing jumping jacks. Do you understand what I'm saying here?